Hey, what's up guys, it's Chris here again. This is my first tutorial video for 2018 and I apologize for not putting on any content anytime before this, but you know, I made a lot of videos and I wasn't quite happy with it, so I scrapped most of them, didn't do much editing on them. As soon as I found a little mistake, I took it off. This one I said, you know what, doesn't matter, there's mistakes in it, you know, it happens, you know. Not every cut's gonna be perfect, but there's a little bit to teach you about every cut that I do. And this cut is one of my clients. His name is Brandon, and he comes in, you know, at least once a month, but he let it grow out for a couple more weeks extra by accident. I was sick. He tried to get an appointment and he couldn't make it. So what I usually do with him is I use a number two guard, usually with the Wahl, against the grain all the way around, and I do a skin taper. And for his beard, he doesn't usually let me do anything with it. He's been growing it out a little bit lately, so he does his own little thing. So I just leave the beard, so 2 on top to skin taper. So I'm starting here with the Wahl. I just got a brand new Wahl 5-star senior cordless. It's dope. You know, we've been waiting for these cordless machines from time now, and they're finally here. Sometime last year they had the magic clip. It was just a regular like 5-star magic clip, and this year they dropped the Wahl Senior, which is one of their best machines, and they dropped that cordless. And this is huge for the market, for barbers out there that love, you know, doing cuts on the run, or even just having no cords at their station, which is it's ideal. You know, it's great to not have to change your cords, not have to deal with the untangling, and I mean, you still got to charge it up every now and again. You know, this machine, I've been using it for about 2 weeks now, and I charge it probably every 3-4 cuts, and it lasts me a good amount. I got my backup with the corded, or you can plug it in if you don't have a corded one, and you're good to go still. You can just keep cutting. But having the power of having no cord is, to me, it's priceless, you know. And talking about the price, here in Canada we pay, I think it was almost $200 after tax and shipping and everything for the Wahl Senior cordless. And it hits. It's pretty good. You know, I didn't really love the blade it came with. It usually comes with a surgical blade, and for a lot of my clients, it pulls their skin. I don't know what it is with those blades. I feel like maybe the teeth are too thin, and the guys that have thick follicles, it just digs right in and it pulls out their skin, and it just bleeds. And it's, for some cuts, you can't even finish it because it's tedious for the client. So I changed up the blade. I had a Barber, and I wasn't that impressed with the Barber. It looks like a flashlight, that circle one. And the lever on the side, I had to keep tightening it and adjusting it, and it was a decent machine, but because of that small defect, I had to shelf it, and I took off the blade. It fits exactly on the Wahl blade, so I used that one on the Wahl, and I love it. I changed it 3 different times on the magic clip. I had it on it, and then my Wahl Senior, and then now I have it on my Wahl Senior cordless. So I love this blade. It never snags, never pulls anybody's skin, and it cuts great. It's sharp, you know. So I think Wahl does have blades that you can switch over to, but because I had this blade already and I didn't like the Barber, I just switched over, and I never had to worry about it. So y'all can go out there and check on Amazon or wherever it is that you get your tools from, and you can see if Wahl has a different blade other than surgical with the bigger teeth. All right, so I'm still tapering away at Brandon's hair. I like to start off with the two guard, and let me re-explain it because I think I was talking too much. So I start off with the 2 guard against the grain, and then I go to my 1.5. My 1.5 is like a staple when I'm doing a fade. I love using my 1.5, the white guard, and I do a taper with that, and it's pretty much for me to feel out how thick the person's hair is, my client's hair is, and it's like the starting ground of where I'm going to be doing my fade. And then I usually go over to my one open, and I taper it a little bit, and I close the lever to one closed, and then I would take it off and open it again, so no guard, open, and then I'll bring it down slowly, one notch by one notch, and I do the same thing on both sides. Here's now we have the Andis, which is this is the machine of machines when it comes to outlining clients' hair. This is the machine that everybody should have in their kit. All barbers, all hairdressers across the globe, this is a staple in your kit. So Andis also came out with a cordless version of their signature T-liner. This is the most popular outlining machine out there worldwide. It's from the States, and now it's cordless, and it works great. It's the same lithium-ion batteries that the Wahl Senior was using, and they just came out around the same time, early 2018, and it hits really nice. Right out the box, I didn't have to adjust anything, and this one lasts me, to be quite honest, I could use this almost the whole day and not have to charge it. And it has a lot of power. It's sharp. I don't feel like they sacrifice any quality to make this. This is just my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but I feel like it's the same. It hits the same way as my original Andis with the cord. So good job for making this cordless machine, part of another tool that we're going to use for years to come. This machine in Canada came out a little later than the one in the States and Europe, and it goes for about $245, I believe, after shipping and taxes. Right, so it's a little bit pricey. It's more than double the quarter one, but I don't care. This is what I do. It's what I love doing, and having a cordless machine is, it's a plus. I'm not going to sacrifice not having one just because it's a little more expensive. I'm just going to grind harder and cut more heads. Do what you got to do, right? All right, so now we're doing the same thing at the back of Brandon's head. We're using the 1.5. So what I did is I did the whole right side first, and now I'm working on the left side. So I start with the temple, and now I'm doing the back of his head. And what my technique is, I do a lot of flicking, right? So I use like a scooping type motion. The guys that work with me are always like, yo, how you do that? Because I skip through a lot of steps with that motion. And when I do these videos, I try to simplify it a little bit, but sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, oh shit, you gotta do the steps, because I don't always do the steps that you're supposed to do per se. After cutting hair for as long as I have, you learn to minimize steps and to speed up the time that you want to be productive, right? You want to bang out as many heads as you can, so you gotta be as productive as you can and minimize the steps and speed it up. So that's what I do, and one of my flicking game is part of it. I don't like using the 0.5 guard, the gray one that Wahl has. I think it's pretty useless. I can't open the lever on it, so to me, I don't use it. I use the 1.5 a lot. I use all the other guards. Anything above 4 though, like I don't really use too often. Once in a while I'll use one, but technically if you're doing anything over 3, you should be using the shears. So 3 and under is for fading, over that, shears. Unless a guy has straight hair and he's like, yo, give me an 8 or a 6, so I'm not gonna complain, I just do it. A lot of guys know what they want. They've been through a lot of barbers, and if a guy knows what he wants, just give it to him. If a guy's not sure, then you give him your best honest opinion, right? That's how it is. They lean towards us for advice. And as a barber with more experience than the client, usually, you know, you want to give them the best possible advice that you can. So you gotta really feel out the client. You can't do everything the same way on every client. You have to know how to read people. You have to know how to, you know, give them what they need and make them feel good and special and appreciated. You know, as a barber, that's your job. You're out here trying to service the people. You know, it's not for yourself, it's not for your Instagram, it's to make sure that they feel and look their best. As a barber, if you've done this, you've done your job. If you haven't, you need to work on something. So I'm working on the left side again with Brandon's hair. I'm like I said, here I got my half guard open and I have it slightly angled. It's like on a 90-degree angle, and I do this because it helps with the fade a little bit, so you don't get those choppy lines. You get more of a spread out fade. So if I want it really tight, I flatten the machine. If I want it spread out, I'll raise it a little bit like an angle, and it helps that. It's hard to see from this angle because it's the machine and the camera are on the same angle, so you can't really see the angle of it, but that's what I'm doing. And even though my client does want to keep his beard, you also want to blend it in a bit, because that's one of the things that they probably can't do well on their own. So without them asking, blend in their beard regardless. Although these Andis T-out liners are hitting really good, you know, it doesn't go as close as it would if you'd using a razor. So I use this as a real good guideline, and then I usually just go over it slightly with my razor blade and finish it off. You know, you don't want to have those little hairs sticking out. And I could use my shaver, but to be more professional and how his hair is, like every hair is different, using the blade for the front. I don't usually use it on the back, you know, unless they really need it, but most guys, I don't use it on the back. But the front, the sideburns, the temple P-point, I'll use the razor and the beard if I have to, but not on this client particularly. Using your brush every now and again is important. I use this because it number one, it flattens out all the hairs, obviously. So, you know, if some hairs are curled up, you know, you'll have a nice straight line. And also, it's just like to brush his hair down to see if everything is straight the way it's supposed to be. When it comes to using your razor, gotta pull on the skin. Usually I'll use shave cream. You know, there's a lot of brands out there, but on this particular cut, I was just cleaning up some of the hairs. You could barely see it on the camera. You probably can't even see anything, to be honest, but there is small little hairs sticking out, and I just went dry with it because it's easier for me to see. And I don't feel like the shave gel was necessary. You know, sometimes it irritates client skin, but in this particular case, I don't think it was a big issue. So I went dry and everything worked out. So yeah, this is my low taper. This is my boy Brandon. Shout out to Brandon for letting me do this video today on the fly. and just to finish him off a little bit to make his hair look darker, more shiny, and more healthier looking. And gives a little moisture. I use a little olive oil lotion, rubbed it in there. Yeah, this is what's up. This is a low taper fade for my boy Brandon, 2018. Fresh, dressed, ready to impress. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Peace.